What's going on, everybody? Welcome back again to Investing Pros, the most generous crypto YouTube channel out there. It is the last day of May. They said sell in May and walk away. Well, you know, if you sold in May, you could have walked away, and it's not really that much different than it was a month ago. What is June going to look like? We're going to be talking about that and a whole lot more in this episode. We also will have a special guest towards the end coming in to discuss altcoins that very well might be able to 100x. Also talking about some other interesting things involving crypto and CBDCs around the world. You do not want to go anywhere. Make sure you go ahead and tune in. Smash that like button. If you are new here, subscribe to the channel for more content just like this, covering everything you need to know about crypto, about stocks, everything about investing so that you can make those decisions for yourself. But first, I do want to introduce the team we have here at Investing Bros, starting off with our Florida man, Mr. T. Shroom. How you doing this morning, T. Shroom?
Oh, man, I am doing better than I deserve, Tim. And you may never have guessed that. A lot of people probably would never have suspected that. But I've got a great quote of the day here for us. So if you'll go over to my screen, you'll be able to see that quote of the day. And it's from somebody who I can't believe we haven't quoted more often, and that's Jordan Peterson. But he said, "Can you imagine yourself in 10 years if instead of avoiding the things you know you should do, you actually did them every single day?" That's powerful. That's Jordan Peterson. Thank you, Tim.
Dude, that is a very, very good quote. You know, I have that wrestle with myself almost daily where it's like, man, I need to start doing this and this and this, but I'll do it tomorrow. That's, you know, it'll make more sense to do it tomorrow. And of course, tomorrow then becomes tomorrow, and then that becomes more tomorrow and more tomorrow. So great quote there by old Jordan. We're also joined by our Texas man, Mr. Army Piper. How are you doing this morning, Piper?
Good, man. I think I'm going to change my name to the Texas Trader
Hey.
because I pulled out at the top of XRP's run up last night and closed my
Very
trade.
nice.
So, yes, let's go. Let's get it. But, Tim, what would be great would be if you could move your mic a little bit closer because you're a little low on the volume on my end.
Am I low? Okay.
That's much better. But I'm doing great, Tim. Thank you for asking. And how are you doing?
Dude, I am doing phenomenal. I'll tell you what, last night, we don't know if it's a good thing or a bad thing. My wife has to deal with it. But so usually Brody, for those who don't know, Brody is my brand new week-old son. He likes to sleep with dad. He likes to sleep with me. I don't, have that magic touch. But he slept for 5 hours straight last night, which, if for those who don't know, newborn babies are supposed to eat like every 2 to 3 hours. So we don't know, A, how he did that, and B, what the repercussions of that will be with his feeding schedule. But he's doing good, and wife's doing good. I'm doing good. I feel rested again. 5 hours straight of sleeping with a newborn baby. It's got to be close to a record there. With that said, though, let's get into some crypto stuff. We got a lot to talk about today, but first, before we jump in with our juicy content, we got to read some great names here, starting off with the first two, and I made sure to write them down because I did not want to miss them. First commenter of the day was Mr. Elo Brown. Followed up right behind him was ADA Ace. Thank you to you guys coming in here early, getting your names in here. But let's see some other people here. Wow. Right off the back, we got a great name. Number 3, Crypto Archie is in the house. Another gem hunter. Great seeing your name here, Archie. Who else do we have here? Mr. J is here. Crypto Trades, Joe Nickel, Mike Play, Rick Wilson. Let's see who else we have. These are some great names in here. Great guys. Crypto JMP is here. Crypto Alchemist is here. Elliot Locke. Crypto Pew Pew Cruz, one of our favorite names here in the Investing Bros. Who else do we have? Dan M is here. Let's see. Crypto Enlightener is here. I don't know if I've read that name before. So welcome, Crypto Enlightener. By the way, guys, go ahead and right now, if this is your, I'll say the first, if this is the first 3 times you watch the show, so maybe you've seen it twice before, but you're a newer viewer, put a 1 in chat just so I can know who you are. I'll give you guys a special shout out as well. You guys know we're trying to grow this channel, and always love seeing brand new names. So welcome, Crypto Enlightener. Again, I didn't know if I'd read your name before. Maybe I have. Let's see here. Jenny from the blockchain is here. Gia S is here. Who else do we have? We'll get a couple more here. CBD Suddy. OBC is here. Cryptex with the blue wrench, Justin Eubanks, Crypto Trappa, Let's see. Brian D. Z Canceling Radio. It's been a while since I got to read Z Canceling Radio. Welcome back. Bedridden with the Blue Wrenches here. John Kahn. Mellow Fellow. Wow. Read a Mellow Fellow's name that late. That's pretty nuts. Let's see here. Philly Skills 1428. Curtis Rorick. Wind Peoples. Max PP. Let me see here. Ninja Glock is here. I want to go ahead and scroll. Crimson Caravan Company. Let's see if there's any ones in chat. So first of all, Elo Brown, that is what we call lying. When you put a 1 in chat, you have watched way more than 3 times. But you know what? You were a first commenter, so I'm gonna give you a pass for today. Dennis, oh man, see, here's the thing, Dennis. These names get me. I am terrible at pronouncing names, and yours is gonna be no exception. Vaquerano.
Nailed it. Close enough.
I don't know. One of them had to be right. Brendan Griff is also here. Lunar Beaches Crypto said 1, but I'm not new to you guys in particular. I think would that mean you've seen us on other shows potentially? That could be it. Iron Mike. Guys, I'm going to go ahead and stop reading names here. If I did not read your name, there's another lie from Sir Muguruza, because I butchered your name several times. If I did not read your name, it's not because I don't love you. It's time to move on with our fantastic show, because we're still going to be doing our TA. But then instead of doing a lot of news, because there wasn't a lot of news this morning, if there's anything that breaks, T-Shroom will make sure to grab it and discuss it. But we're going to have a special guest talking about altcoins and some crazy little gems that maybe you've heard of, maybe you haven't, that very well might even 100x later on this bull market. But let's start off with our economic outlook, brought to you guys with Army Piper. Piper, what are we seeing this morning in the economic front?
All right, bro. Let's get into it. Let's go. So looking at the Wednesday, May 31st, the final day of May today, guys. We got JOLTS job openings that'll be coming in at 8 a.m. my time. That's about an hour right at the end of this show. That is going to be telling you all of the non-farm jobs that are open in America, okay? We're also going to be getting into several speeches today. I'm not sure what these guys are going to be talking about, but I have a feeling it's going to lean towards the direction of we are leaning towards rate hikes, because that's what it's looking like we're going to see on the 14th of June. Looking at tomorrow, we got ISM manufacturing PMI coming in, the non-farm productivity, initial jobless claims, how many people filed for unemployment in America. And then Friday is going to be our non-farm payroll and unemployment rate. That's the big one that I'm watching for this week after the JOLTS job opening report today. So that's what I'm seeing for that. Let's jump over, check out the Trueflation. Trueflation coming up a little bit. We're starting to see that PCE and everything take effect here on Trueflation's data report, and they are saying it is up 6/107%. We're back to 2.91, still coming in under 3%. So pretty good there. Let's take a look at the liquidations, guys, for the 24-hour period. $22 million in liquidations on Bitcoin in the past 24 hours. 19.5 million of those on longs. So not looking pretty there at all. $18 million worth of liquidations on ETH, and a majority of those happening on Binance. Wah, wah. So that's what I'm seeing right there. And I'm going to say this other thing for that I have here for community when we talk about that. So, and Austin Mead, I agree. I was robbed yesterday on ATB, but at least I lost to Piano Matabi. I love that guy. He's fantastic. So, and I also want to give a shout out to Dan M, who came over to watch from the Gem Hunters. So give him a shout out. So back to you, Tim. What do you got for the macroeconomic news side?
Awesome. Well, we're sitting here about 2 weeks away. So that 14 days, 2 weeks from today, we're going to get our next FOMC meeting. And I told you guys before, I didn't think that they're going to be crazy in terms of price action. We'll have to see about this one, because everyone assumed that the rates were done being raised. Well, it's looking pretty solid. The predictive tool here on CME Future is saying 62.9% are saying we're going to get one more 25 basis point rate hike. I don't know what that's going to do to the prices of Bitcoin and crypto and stocks, because I think a lot of prices had kind of baked in that they thought that we were going to be done here between 5 and 5.25. Now, to clarify it to everybody, we haven't heard Jerome Powell come out and say, oh yeah, we're thinking we're probably going to go ahead and go 25. This is just a predictive tool. A lot of people are thinking, especially I'm assuming that the thought is because we're raising the debt ceiling, and because of course when you raise the debt ceiling, you're going to print more money. That's going to make inflation go up. Are they trying to get above it? There it goes. That mouse is bugging out again. There we go. But something to keep an eye on, guys. We still got 2 weeks. A lot can change. News can break. Banks can crash. A lot of things can happen. But at this point, it is very much looking like we're going to see another rate hike for the Fed. So that's going to be very interesting. And again, we're going to keep our eyes on that because I don't know if that's necessarily baked into the price. We'll have to keep our eyes there on that. Bitcoin Fear and Greed Index this morning sitting at 51, as we discussed yesterday. Very, very boring. If we're looking over the last 7 days, it's borderline a straight line. It goes down to 48, then it goes up to 52, and then it comes back to 50. So nothing crazy necessarily happening there. With that said, though, let's go ahead and jump over onto our charts. I got a lot of things pulled up for you guys. Just so you guys know, I'm looking at this. I'm actually borderline considering, before we get into the technical analysis, having this conversation with Piper. Do not know why this indicator is free. It is absolutely phenomenal. I've been doing some looking at it this morning. Do you guys see this oscillator down here on the bottom? This is the RSI Prime. This is a free Chart Prime oscillator. So if you don't own Chart Prime, you can go get this one right now. It is phenomenal because it takes the same data points as the RSI. You still have your line and everything, but it actually tells you the significance of certain points. For example, it gives you engulfing candlesticks, which if you guys are looking, let's just pull this up fully. These engulfing candlesticks do not miss. Like, these are great. That one you can say borderline missed. You could say that one borderline missed, but even this one. So look at how much it rose back up before it came back down again. These are pretty lethal calls here. And again, this is a free indicator. It goes perfectly with the paid indicators as well. But watch what I'm going to do right here, guys. You guys know I love my RSI, and maybe someday I'll pull it back up again. But for right now, boom. I don't even need the RSI. This is a free indicator here. RSI Prime. You can go look it up right now. If you guys just go to indicators and type in Chart Prime, one word up here, and then scroll through things, you should be able to see it. Very, very interesting indicator right here. Of course, pairing this with the paid version is going to be very lethal. That being said, though, let's go over here and take a look at what's happening on Bitcoin. Big thing happened last night. We did end up losing some levels of support. So come on now, chart, work with me here. We did lose this rising level of support. Some of you guys know I talked about there was a chance that 27.4 got revisited over on Twitter a couple days ago. Well, not only did we revisit 27.4, we actually ended up breaking it. And that was this rising level of support. We've broken this before. It's not the end of the world. We're going to look at some other support levels to keep an eye on, but I did want to let you guys know, in case you had not viewed a chart this morning, Bitcoin is down. It came down and touched about 27,000. Now, something to keep your eyes on moving over here. And I don't know if I mentioned this yesterday. I should have, but this is the Bitcoin future, or this is Bitcoin CME futures gap that we have here. And you'll notice the gap we developed here the other day, the top range of this. And of course, we're looking at candle body closes, guys. So I'm on the 4-hour charts. That does not tell me the whole story. Let me go to the daily chart real quick. There we go. Let me pull this down just a hair because I want to be accurate. You're looking at the candle body close, even though we had a wick above there. That was priced earlier in the day here just a couple of days ago. We closed down here at 26,920. So that begins the gap. Of course, this gap went all the way up originally to about 27,700. As of right now, we have filled a majority of this gap, but we do have a little bit lower that we can go. That being said, let's come back over to the normal chart here on Bitcoin. Let's go back down to the 4-hour chart just to see this a little better. There's actually a lot of levels of confluence that we're seeing here. First of all, this, you guys are notice right here, this comes in one of the newer, it's kind of revised with the new updates that Chart Prime had done to it with the Market Dynamics Pro. This is what we have right here, order blocks, and I have it offset on macro here. This just tells you where there is liquidity. Great way to see some support, some resistance, but you guys can see right here, it says it's very, very high. So do we have to come down here and touch this order block? Absolutely not. But when you see there's a lot of liquidity, a lot of the times you are going to see almost like a magnet, price likes to get pulled towards those levels. Now, to be fair, there's levels to the upside as well. So I'm still sitting here in a longer term bullish price action, but I am aware that down here we have an order block at about 26,450 or so that could look enticing. Not only that, but we also, when pulling up our Fibonacci from this little low we had back on May 24th up to this more recent peak, you guys are going to see that if we were to come down here, come on, Tim, get that part right there. Here we go, golden pocket just a little bit above. You're going to see the platinum pocket kind of touches right where we have that order block. But if we were to come down here and touch this golden pocket, 26,800, guess what that would do? That sure enough would fill our gap right here. And again, not that we have to come down and kiss this perfectly. We absolutely could come down and go ahead and hit this order block, or maybe even somewhere in the middle. However, do not be surprised to see us go ahead and drop down at least to this golden pocket here, 26,800, give or take, and then potentially keep your eye out for a touch of the platinum pocket and a filling of this order block down here. This would be down at 26,400. Like I've said in the past, guys, I am bullish as long as we're staying above this little green line right here, and that is 25.2. And not that I think we're going to touch it again, but remember, I told you guys yesterday, we are in a falling trading channel. We've had our fifth wave. A breakout is coming here very soon. The question is when, not if. I would be very surprised if we touch this blue line once again, but could we potentially see the price of Bitcoin? Grab my marker right here. Thank you. There we go. Come down, touch this order block, and then get our breakthrough. And look, we have another order block sitting up here at about 31,000. Like I said, these kind of work as magnets. It's not absolute. They don't have to touch these order blocks, but you're going to find a lot of times they do. And so that's something that I am keeping my eyes on. After we've had this fifth wave now, breakouts are coming. But this is not, I've been talking a lot here, guys. And I have a problem sometimes talking too fast, but I hope you're staying with me because I got a little bit more I want to talk about for Bitcoin before I throw it to Piper for some Ethereum TA. Let me go ahead and get rid of a couple of these other things. Well, I'll go ahead and get rid of my fifth wave. So another really cool tool that Chart Prime has, and I know this kind of feels like I'm doing a plug, but first of all, thank you to Chart Prime for being a partner of this channel. I've told you guys before, this channel probably would not be anywhere near where it is right now, or maybe even still existing if it was not for Chart Prime. So they are massive supporters of the channel, but they're also an amazing indicator package. And this is another cool tool I'm learning about that is absolutely phenomenal. Optimal tuning. If you guys go in here if you have this Market Oracle Pro, looking at the settings, you can either tune it yourself and be specific, or you can turn an auto maximizer. I don't know how much you guys deal with paid indicators, but a lot of times these signals they give you, they're tuned to certain things. They have different settings you can put them on to make them more accurate or less accurate. Auto maximizer automatically takes the average, most accurate tuning you have. And so right now, for example, that's at 28. I don't have to change this tuning right here. I could, but I'm set at 28. This score right here kind of tells us, are we on this time frame in a bullish move or a bearish move? Everything above 5 means we're bullish. Everything below 5 down to 0 means we are bearish. So it goes from 0 to 10, 5 and above, bullish, 4 and below, bearish. This one, consolidation score, tells us if we're about to see a breakout. So if we're sitting at 0 with a consolidation score, we're pretty volatile. Continue to watch what the trend is doing. But if it starts to get higher, if you're starting to see a lot of consolidation, that's a very good sign, similar to Bollinger Bands. You guys know how we talk about Bollinger Bands. When it constricts or consolidates, a big breakout is coming. When it spreads out, you want to continue the trend until you see another sign reversing. Well, this is a great way, seeing this score. The closer it is to 10, the more likely a big breakout is coming. Now, I'm saying all this, you guys. You might be wondering, Tim, thank you for the education on Chart Prime, but why are you telling me this? Well, let's go up here to the daily chart and start looking at this down here. And just to make it easier on you guys, I'm going to pull it up like this. There we go, so you guys can see it. Look what we have starting on the daily chart. Despite the fact that we have a couple red daily candles, we're still sitting on a 6 in a bullish trend and a 9 in consolidation. Moving up to the 2 daily, you're going to see, I believe we're at an 8. Maybe it updated. Or 7. Okay, 7 for 2 day. Let's see what our 3 day is saying. 7, 5 day. We have 7 weekly. Let's see what weekly is saying. Weekly is saying 8. What is the point of this? All of these higher time frames, from daily all the way through weekly, we're seeing some high numbers here on consolidation score, which means, just like we see with Bollinger Bands, a breakout is coming. I don't know exactly when, and to be fair, we're not 100% certain just based off of that score which way it's going to go. However, you guys know we've been talking about a lot of reasons from not just a technical analysis standpoint, but even from a fundamental and news standpoint. A move to the upside for Bitcoin makes a lot of sense. Doesn't mean we can't come down here, but guess what? Even a touchdown to 26.4, that's still a higher low than what we just had here a couple of days ago on May 24th when we dipped all the way down to 25,900. Now, this means if we're seeing a breakout, anytime you trade, you're doing some educated guessing and educated risk taking. But based off of what I'm seeing on the charts, I'm seeing the RSIs, the oscillators start to reload to the downside. Do not be surprised if that big breakout is the one we've been talking about, and it's a breakout of this trading channel that sends us all the way up to about 32,000. Maybe a quick stop right here at the order blocks. Come on, marker. Come on for me. There we go. Maybe a quick stop at the order block and then a push up to 32,000 before we then reassess. Do we want to keep pushing to 36, maybe 42? I heard someone the other day say there's a strong case for 45. I believe that actually was Piper. Piper might even want to talk about that. But
it was
either
me.
way, a big move is coming for Bitcoin, guys. And right now, I am leaning bullish. But let me know in chat what you guys think. That is the Bitcoin TA for today. But I'm going to throw it over to Piper to fill us in on what he's seeing over on Ethereum.
Awesome, Tim. Also, I'll point out that on that 5-day that you were looking at, the oscillator cloud is starting to get very thin on top of that high scoring that we have there.
It is.
On the Yep. So taking a look here, guys, we're looking at Ethereum on the 4-hour here. We did get a break up well, I guess this would have been on Sunday, and it led us up to the golden top of this trade range here of the predictive ranges here. There's your top, there's your bottom, there's your delta line, right? What I want to show you guys is that we did have on the RSI primed that Tim was telling you about. It gave us an engulfing. Let me light it up on this candle here and said it's going down. So that's what happened there, just like we had the engulfing here that said, hey, this is the bottom and we're going up. So powerful, insanely powerful. Love this thing. Still don't think we should have released it for free, but hey, it's out there, so use it. Once we got the pullback here, we came back to a breaker block. What this breaker block is a former order block that has lost a lot of its liquidity, and so it's not even registering as low. It is now a breaker block because it has been broken. A broken order block becomes a breaker block, okay? Let's go ahead and throw on the market oracle, see what we're looking at here. The prime ranges here, these run in line, and they're a lot like the predictive ranges, but they follow the trend, and that is actually where we rejected at. So on the way down right now, we're hitting the prime assistant. This is telling you that, hey, a lot of times when we have these runs, like right here, on these trend-based the trend-based indicators, it will reject and find support or find resistance on these lines. For example, right here, that's what it did there. What we're doing right now is testing that prime assistant on this trend off of this buy indicator here. We did get the reversal, but now it looks like we're finding support. We're hitting right now that prime assistant. We hit a prime range. We hit a breaker block. I am going to be watching to see what happens here with our traditional prime oscillator pro. Is it going to start flipping here at the 0 line? I don't know, because what I'm seeing on the money flow is this blue cloud here, guys, is the MFI, and money flow is still coming down. Trend says we're still coming down, getting really fat volume in there coming in off the volume indicator, and we're not really seeing any starting to flatten on the traditional pro oscillator here. So still looks like we do have a little bit of downside. Of course, this downside could all cool off with the ranging here somewhere along this. We do have a dynamic reactor coming in right below us at about 1845, and then of course that delta line, which has been proven as support for a long time going back, is coming in at about 1825. So I would not be surprised if we break through this, maybe a couple of bounces over the next couple of days, but make our way down to 1825 there on Ethereum. Let's go ahead and jump over and check out XRP, because this is the trade that I got out of last night. Absolutely beautiful. Oh, hold on, there's one thing I want to turn on Ethereum. Back that up. Back it up. Back it up. Let's turn this on here. Yeah, that rejection also was on my platinum pockets that I talk to you guys about all the time. The 887 right there, lining up with that prime range. So wanted to kick that in there, not forget that. Let's go and check out XRP. XRP, I got out of my long trade yesterday, had a beautiful, very profitable run up on XRP. So looking at it here now, guys, I saw it come up. I saw that it was going to be coming up to the top of my platinum pocket there. And when that happened, I said, it's time to go. Also, I got out because you see this little purple tick mark. That is a take profit check mark that says we're starting to lose the run on this buy indicator, right? So I went ahead and took profit out, closed it out right at 50. I want to say it was like 52 point. 6 or 52.5. So somewhere right in here after it rejected off of the platinum pocket there. And now we got our bounce of support off of the bottom of the platinum pocket. So we'll see what happens there with that today. I'm not really sure what it's going to do. However, there we go. Let me get rid of that. Thank you much. What I do think is going to happen is that we're going to try to consolidate in the platinum pocket here on XRP somewhere in this range. But I am out of my profit. Out of my trade, took the profit on it because it's not how much money you make, it's how much money you keep. I am going to be watching down here because you've seen that we can come up and get these bounces on the top, the 70% line of the RSI primed. That's where we are right now again. So we might consolidate on here just like we did here in this area and then take off again. So I'm very excited to see what happens with XRP. Very tradable right now, but yeah, let's get it. Let's go. That's what I got, Tim. Kicking it. Oh, no, I lied. There's one more thing, but wait, there's more. We did get a confirmation of the chart pattern breakout here and a retest. It was textbook retest on that before it went up too. So that was where I went in with some extra love on my trade. So kicking it back to you, Tim. That's what I got for XRP today.
Yeah, I'm telling you guys right now, there's so much here. I know this seems like we talked about a lot. These new updates that Chart Prime just made are ridiculous. I didn't even get to, like, I'm going to be honest with you guys. I didn't even get to do everything I want to do on Bitcoin alone. I'm going to do more tomorrow, show you guys some more things because it's going to be the same because some of this stuff's on higher time frames. But if you guys are wondering, hey, where can I get this? How can I support the channel more? There's a link down below. Not only do you support us, you get an amazing indicator package. And with our link, not every link you see out there, but our link, you get 45% off your first month or your first quarter. Give it a try. Give it 1 month. It's just I think it's like, if you have 45% off, it's like $57, Piper. And so it's like you literally can spend like it's like $28, $29. What is that? That's not quite 30. So it's like $28. Just see if you like it. If you don't, no sweat. Don't keep renewing it. If you do, go buy more of it because it is phenomenal. I do want to engage with chat here for just a little bit before we transition because the stock market's not even open yet for T-Shroom to do any TA on it and to check up what's happening there. But I want to read in some chat. This is something we got some feedback yesterday in our bro time. That is a thing we do over on our paid level of Discord where some of our members we can just spend a lot more time with us. But we were asking them, hey, what are some things you guys want to see go a little better and change about the channel? And they said, hey, let's engage with chat just a little bit more. So you guys are getting your wish. I'm going to read some comments here. Marique Franick, I think I responded anyway. He said, hey, Tim, how do you enjoy listening to BitBoy Rants live? They're fun. I'll tell you what. I don't know. I don't always go back and watch them, so I don't know how they portrayed to you guys watching. But in studio, a lot of fun. I'm telling you guys right now, Ben is one of the most passionate people you will ever meet, and he's passionate about crypto. It was really hilarious the other day. Some of you guys might have seen it on Twitter. I kind of did an appreciation post. A lot of hate going on for Ben. I want you guys to know, yes, I'm an employee. So if people are going to accuse me of being biased, yeah, more than likely they are. That's not how it is. I'm just trying to call it like I see it. He is not what people portray him to be. I'm talking about one of the friendliest, greatest, most passionate people you ever met. Just a little story. I don't think I've ever told you guys this, but when we moved up here, this just tells you a little bit about who Ben is as a person. This is as his character. And is he a perfect person? No, but nobody's a perfect person. But this tells you about his heart and who he is. My wife came in probably day 2 of me working here, right? He was on his way to the gym. He goes to the gym every single day at 3 because he likes to stay healthy, likes to work out. He does a great job of that. But my wife walks in and he sits there for 30 minutes talking to my wife, calls his wife, says, hey, you got to come down here to meet Taylor, Tim's wife. I want you guys to get it. He literally, just despite the fact that his day is crazy, he made sure to take time to spend time with my wife. That's who he is as a person. Also, the man barely sleeps. The man barely sleeps at all because he's so concerned about making sure not only that his business runs well, where he provides for 50 other employees, but he also, I don't think there's a single person in this world that cares more about the future of crypto than BitBoy. It's funny, though, because I made this whole post kind of saying this. Great father, great man. Does he make some things does he do things sometimes that I wouldn't do? Yeah, he does. But it's because he cares so much and he's such a passionate person. But someone commented, they were literally like, oh, look, Ben's paying his employees now to do confirmation posts. And it's like, what the heck? Like, is that how negative we are now, that people think that if someone says anything positive about somebody else, they have to be paid to do so? It's pretty sad. pretty sad. But that was my little rant. That was my little tangent. Ben in person, guys. If you guys ever want to come to Atlanta and come meet him in person, the door's not locked. People walk in all the time just to come sit. I think even in chat, Elliot Locke, he came in the other day and he just sat and watched the live show. You guys are more than welcome to come in and meet him, meet the team. Very open source. And again, it's one of those things. Everything gets portrayed differently on screen, on TV. But when you meet people behind the scenes and you get to hear their heart, it gives you a little bit more understanding of what's going on. So
can you let him know that we're going to send him the bill for the PR work that we just did? Hey, I do want to show people real fast for community, because get the receipts, because you were talking about Chart Prime. Hey guys, I'm going to give you an easier way than going on and subscribing to get Chart Prime. If you take a look over here, that's the wrong chart. There we go. They are doing a giveaway at Chart Prime. Giveaway alert. Chart Prime has just launched a brand new Pro Suite. They are giving away 5 quarterly subscriptions. And all you have to do is like and retweet this post, tag a friend, and you must follow Chart Prime. So you got to be following Chart Prime on Twitter, tag a friend, like and retweet the post. Shout out to Crux of Crypto for this beautiful artwork he did here. And there are 5 quarterly subscriptions being given away. So that's the easiest way to get Chart Prime right now. So
boom.
Yeah. Heck yeah.
Well, it is now 9:32, which means T-Shroom, the stock market has been open for about 2 minutes. What are you seeing over there for us?
Yeah, go ahead and go over to my screen. I'll do a quick market open here, guys, before we get to our guest. Natural gas coming up a little bit here. Oil still coming down a little bit from yesterday. Had a big day down, now going a little bit lower, down 0.6% there. Your indexes are all coming in red, not a single one green, and the NASDAQ is getting sold off the heaviest. That was more than likely going to mean that there is some red on the screen down in our mega cap tech stocks. So let's go ahead and check that out. But before we do, I'm seeing heavy red across the screen here in crypto. Litecoin and Cake leading the way lower, at least on my watch list. And your Bitcoin is going to be down about 2% and Ethereum down 1.6% there. Let's go check out the mega cap. Actually, the metals are doing well. So silver up 0.8 and gold up 0.2. Gold was up yesterday as well. So Microsoft kind of surprising, and Apple both in the green. Microsoft up 0.5%, but the rest of the names there are red. So Tesla down 0.4, Meta down 0.8, Google down 0.6. So there's definitely enough red on the screen to tell me that there's a little bit of timidity in the market as we come up against some major events. You're also seeing NVIDIA and AMD both selling off there as well. Your young dated bonds, treasuries here, yields are up. In the 3-month, they're up 2.3%. So those are getting sold pretty heavily there in the first couple minutes of trading here in the New York session. And then cannabis red across the screen, mid caps red across the screen, C3.ai giving back 11% yesterday. They have had an absolutely roller coaster of a ride over there at C3.ai. I've got it pulled up here. You can see had a giant, had a pretty big gap up, and now has resumed lower. So had a gap up 32% yesterday, very impressive. But is now that this red candle is showing some weakness there. Maybe potentially if you're very bullish on the AI story, which a lot of people are, maybe a time to buy. Banks red, big oil red. All right, guys, I've got a couple of stories here to bring you. We're going to get a little unconventional with the flow of the show. We'll get into our community section right after these stories. The community section is going to be very brief, and then we're going to bring on our guest. But the stories here: Bybit announces exit from the Canadian market. So if you are a Canadian and you really like Bybit, perhaps consider using a different one. And in fact, we actually have just partnered with an exchange called Pionex, and there is a link for that in the description. And we're going to have a lot more information on that coming very soon. But yeah, so that's unfortunate. Canadians suffered a loss of exchange a couple of weeks ago when Binance pulled out, and now Bybit is doing the same. I thought I'd bring this to you guys very quickly. There's been a drone attack on Russian oil refineries, and there's been some escalatory language. Russian oil refineries. So Medvedev calls UK Russia's eternal enemy, says British officials aiding Ukraine can be legitimate targets, military targets. So that's very, very problematic for obvious reasons. And then responding to Medvedev was responding to the UK's Foreign Secretary James Cleverly's comment that Ukraine has the right to use force beyond its borders. So famously, the Ukraine has announced that it is ready for an offensive, meaning it's not just going to be on the defense anymore, trying to protect its civilians and trying to stave off the Russian forces. It's actually going to go on the offensive, and it has done just that with this headline here of drone strikes on Russian oil refineries. So escalatory there, guys, is the takeaway. And then from a community standpoint, we released our newsletter yesterday. So it did go out on Monday because it was Memorial Day. It went out yesterday. And it is the last T-Shroom take for 3 weeks. So you'll want to get over there and kind of see what is on T-Shroom's mind. Well, with that said, I think we're ready to go ahead and introduce our guest. So unless there's anything else that you guys wanted to mention.
No, I think for now we're good. If we have anything to touch on, we'll touch on it a little bit later on in the show. We're gonna bring on another one of the gem hunters. You guys have known a lot of them. Again, we saw Crypto Archie in chat earlier, but SSM Crypto, another one of those gem hunters, is joining us today. So first of all, let's bring him on. SSM, how are you doing, my friend? What's going on?
Hello, guys. Thank you for having me here today. I'm doing fine. I'm happy to share my thoughts and perspectives with the investing bros. Hope you're doing good.
Yeah, we're doing very good. We're excited to have you here. We have a community, we get to talk about Bitcoin and Cardano and Ethereum and other coins a lot, but we always love whenever one of the gem hunters comes on and we get to go deep into the weeds of DGen. So let's start off with probably the most simple and easy question we could ask that everyone wants to know the answer to. We're not going to fluff it up for anyone. SSM, what are some DGen coins that you're really loving right now that you think have a decent shot at being 100x coins here in the next bull market?
Okay, so my DGen picks for this month of May is not going to be something really exciting, but it's chock full of utility, and that's within the decentralized science narrative. Because I'm a big fan of narratives. I believe, they can encompass a lot of things, and when that narrative does well, generally, it can drag a lot of cryptos along with it. Take for example with AI, when AI became a thing, many cryptos that implement artificial intelligence started to do well. So I'm a big fan of decentralized science because I believe it has a good justification on the blockchain. There's a strong need for knowledge to be open source and verifiable, especially with situations that we are seeing out there in the world right now, when it comes to vaccines and the training model for AI being biased or racist. So there's a very strong need for data and information to be open source, for it to be verifiable by people and not influenced by media or third-party corporations. And one of my favorite projects within that narrative, the decentralized science route, is Genomes DAO. So what Genomes DAO does is it carries genomic data, which is very private, which is very personal, and very valuable as well, and puts it in your hands. It allows you to have NFTs to control that vault that keeps your genetic data, and you earn from it. So you can power scientific research while having full control of your data, and without people being in control of it. And there are so many malpractices when it comes to genomic sequencing, either data breaches, hacks, or it's being sold off without permission. And there's another one within the telemedicine route, and that's SDT, stable docs. Now, SDT makes medicine accessible to many people where it normally wouldn't. Take for example, there are issues of cost, there are issues of it being uncommunicable roads, especially in third world and developing countries. So what SDT does is it allows you to meet doctors on the blockchain. Allows you to meet medical professionals on the blockchain, and get started interacting with these medical professionals. Not only does it help people to quickly access medical care, it also gives doctors an additional source of income irrespective of borders. So imagine being in the US or being in Colombia or in somewhere in Africa, but you are able to have this extra source of income because you have clients all over the world. And it's one of my favorite features of the blockchain, in that it's able to break down borders and barriers. And that's what SDT does. And they move forward with regulatory compliance in mind, like in the United States, in Ghana, in India, in Nigeria, they have paperwork to make sure that they can operate within these borders. And perhaps one of my favorites, because it's simple, direct, straightforward, is Cambria CAT, KAT. Now, this offers a platform for innovation and learning with artificial intelligence, augmented reality, virtual reality, Internet of Things, and so on. So this is a project that can take advantage of many other sub niches within its decentralized science narrative. And what it does is it allows you to pay using the tokens, so that's good utility, and to receive payments using the tokens for powering scientific research. So it's not exciting. I know it's not like meme, or it doesn't have as much hype, but I think, once this narrative starts to kick off.
Oh. Got a little cut off. Let's see if.
Hello?
Oh, there it goes. Yeah, you're back. You're back. We just lost you for 1 second. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, so that's where I'll stop. It's just those 3 projects that I wanted to bring up. Genomes DAO, Stable Dogs, and Cambria. But pay attention to that narrative. I really think decentralized science has a very strong justification to be on the blockchain.
Very interesting.
SDT, yeah.
Looks like we have a question for him.
Yep.
Piper, looks like Alex Green said, hey, do you look at multiple blockchains, or do you try to focus on one chain for the picks that you have?
Okay, I try to focus on multiple blockchains because, that's the point of blockchain technology. We're supposed to polish each other and, challenge each other. So even though I'm not a big fan of Ethereum because of the gas fees, I like Cosmos. I'm a big fan of Cosmos. Right now, my main focus are projects that have interoperability in mind, because I think the future of crypto, the future of the blockchain is going to be multi-chain. It's going to be blockchains that can help interact with one another. So I'm really liking Polkadot. I'm really liking Cosmos. I prefer Cosmos to Polkadot because Polkadot is a bit complicated. So we've got this relay chain, parachain, and being able to take advantage of the many things that exist on several blockchains. I think that's the way to go. So layer zeros and I think layer zeros are my major focus right now, because I'm blockchain agnostic. I like projects that can take advantage of many other blockchains.
Nice.
Very nice. Alex said he's very, very grateful for that. There's another question came in from Elo Brown for you, SSM. He said, what platform do you use to trade or purchase tokens? Do you use a hot wallet? Do you use DEXs? What are you using?
Okay. That's a very good question, because I always make the point of having a separate wallets, especially in terms of security. I'm sorry to divert a bit. Like when it comes to the Ledger fiasco, many people are like, "Oh, they don't trust Ledger." And I remember making a video last year saying hardware wallets are not as safe as you think they are, because all it takes is for you to sign one malicious transaction, and then your funds are lost. Because whenever, as dumb as hardware wallets are, it still needs your private keys to sign transactions. So it's important to have multiple wallets. I like to use a hardware wallet for storing crypto. I never use a hardware wallet for DeFi activities. I just use it for either sending and receiving crypto, because I don't know I can't read every smart contract I'm signing. So hardware wallets are good for just storing your cryptocurrencies. You send them to the exchange if you want to convert it to fiat or something, and you send them back for holding. The hot wallet I use MetaMask. I use that for DeFi activities, and I just have I have several for that. Take for example, there's a new project with pre-sale going on. I create an entirely new address, participate in that, so that I minimize risk as much as I can. So it's the approach. The safest approach is for you to have multiple wallets. Have one, a hot wallet for DeFi activities, and have a hardware wallet. I use a Ledger because I was so close to throwing my Ledger in the bin, but when I thought about it, yeah, it's not something that we should worry too much about, because whether you like it or not, your private keys actually do leave your hardware wallet to sign transactions. So what Ledger is practically doing is, when they can allow you to send it over to third parties. I'm not going to subscribe to that. I don't encourage anyone to subscribe to that. I'd rather use centralized exchanges if I need someone keeping my cryptos for me. But yeah, the point I'm trying to make is hot wallets for DeFi activities, hardware wallets for sending. Make sure you don't sign transactions with your hardware wallets, except for sending or receiving.
Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah, I think it's a good point you just brought up there, SSM. It's something that when all this stuff broke last week with Ledger, it really was like oh my gosh, like this was the go-to cold wallet for most people
Yeah.
everywhere. And then it was very concerning. And I think, I think every single person, just like investing in general, like, by the way, all this stuff that SSM is saying is phenomenal, but it's not financial advice. Unless I'm wrong, SSM, I don't think you're a financial advisor,
And
but
it's
but
not,
he just wants to help you guys out with some things he's doing. He's telling you guys what he's doing. And the whole purpose of any of us, what T-Shroom says, what SSM says, what Piper says, what I say, we're just kind of telling you guys what we think. We want you to think for yourself, to go and check and to think about it. When it comes to Ledger, you guys make the decision for yourself. SSM makes a great point. As much as people are fear-mongering right now, if you're holding a Ledger, you really shouldn't be afraid that you're about to get hacked and the government's about to block your money. I'm not trying to insult anybody, but let's be honest. Most of us, the government doesn't necessarily care about what we're doing. It's the bigger fish, and it's one of those concepts. Like, I think I'm leaning a little bit away from Ledger just because I don't know if I want to. I don't want my money in a business that could go and hurt other people. But if anyone is sitting here saying, "Oh no, I think I could have all of my crypto stolen from me if it's in Ledger," let's be realistic. More than likely, it will not. So decide for yourself. Do you want to support Ledger? Do you want to use Ledger? If it's a security risk, you really shouldn't be that worried. If it's a principal risk, or you just don't, on principle, want to give them money, maybe that's your decision. You don't want to give any money to Ledger because you don't want to support their company. Everyone decide that for yourself. We got a couple more questions here. I told the chat to ask questions. Didn't know we are gonna get this many good ones. So let's keep going on here. Brian D. SSM says, does SSM have a market cap in mind when gem hunting? So, Brian D., I don't know if you're asking is he looking at coins with no bigger than a market cap, or is he looking at a certain market cap to take profit? Maybe you can answer both sides of that. What market cap sizes are you looking for to get into, and then what do you get out of them? Like, when do you get out of them?
Yeah, that's a very good question, and I always say portfolios are extremely subjective. Depending on your portfolio, if I have $1,000 to invest, I don't look at mid cap or high caps. And for me, I consider what to be an high cap to be about $750 million, about 500 to $1 billion, 500 and above. So between 50 million, between 100 million to 500 million, I consider that to be a mid cap, but low caps are generally less than $50 million. So if I have $1,000 to invest, I'm not going to buy the same kinds of projects that, like, if I have $10,000 to invest, or if I have $50,000 to invest, I wouldn't take as much risk with $50,000 than I will with $1,000. So if I'm investing $1,000, I invest mainly in low cap gems. And when I'm investing in low caps with a small portfolio like $1,000, it's 50-50. 50% extreme degen plays, that's less than a million, about 200k thousand $200,000 in market cap, 500,000, and 50% relatively safe, about 5 million or $10 million in market cap. So that's my strategy, and I think that's for me. So portfolio management is extremely subjective. If I have $10,000, for example, I would invest in low caps, mid caps, and high caps, and I would invest in about 9 to 12 crypto projects. So I've made several videos discussing how I would invest depending on how much I have, and I think that really depends on you. It depends on your risk tolerance. So depending on your situation, I give advice, not financial advice, sorry. I talk about my strategy with different market caps, and depending on the portfolio I have, and I always make this point. Is an extremely important point. make sure you have other sources of income outside your portfolio, because you wouldn't want to have 100% of your life savings in crypto. It would make you so emotional, and it would make you make bad decisions. If it moves up by 5%, if it goes down by 5%, you start to panic and stuff like that. So always have multiple sources of income. If you don't take any other thing out of my discussion today, make sure you take that out. Have other sources of income so that you can invest for the long term. Have that long term mindset, because the longer you stay in crypto, like anything else in life, the longer you stay at it, the better you are. Maybe you have issues taking profits, maybe you have issues finding red flags. Well, it's time and time again. You can accelerate the process by spending more time, but it's just about learning. And you can't do that if you're not able to feed yourself. You wouldn't be buying Bitcoin if you can't buy bread, right? So it's just about taking a good strategy, looking at your portfolio and adjusting your time frame.
Very good.
Awesome. So I think Rick Wilson was starting to get into some of the questions that I had for you, which is kind of surrounding CBDCs. So you actually live in Nigeria. You're from Guinea. Am I getting that right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Yeah,
but you
Guinea.
live in but you live in Nigeria. So walk me through a little bit of how CBDCs have been rolled out there, because famously Nigeria is one of the countries that has rolled out a pretty elaborate CBDC scheme. So kind of give us a little bit of insight. What has been your experience with that, and do you think that CBDCs are going to be rushed out in the future here in the U.S. and the EU as a result of what's happened there in Nigeria?
Yeah, okay. So I think the most interesting thing about CBDCs in Nigeria is that before Nigeria started trying to roll out the e-naira, that's their stable coin equivalent here. Before they started trying to roll out the e-naira, they first tried to ban cryptocurrencies. And I think that's what I'm seeing in Europe and the United States, because they're trying to get rid of the competition first and then providing an alternative for people. So it didn't work well, because Nigeria is one of the nations that uses crypto the most, and Africans generally like to have a way to store the dollar, because dollar compared to the local currency, take for example in my country, the inflation rate is crazy, so we like to find alternatives to keep stable coins, especially USDT. So they tried to ban cryptocurrencies, but they couldn't. They ended up using an open ledger technology to create their own version, kind of like telling people, okay, instead of using crypto, come use ours. And the most interesting thing about e-naira, the stable coin version of naira, is that it uses blockchain open ledger technology. Is However, the only issue with it is that it's controlled, issued, and regulated by the central government. So for those people who are tech savvy or who are into crypto, they know that that centralization is what they are running away from. So the government then did several things to make sure it goes cashless. That was in 2021 when the e-naira rolled out. The beginning of this year, I shared a tweet with you. The government took several steps to make sure everybody uses the e-naira. In an effort to make the e-naira more popular, they decided to restrict ATM withdrawals, to restrict cash flow, and insisted on people using only the e-naira. Imagine not being able to withdraw more than $40 in a week. So that was their attempt to push people towards the e-naira. But the problem with e-naira was that is that a lot of people in Nigeria especially are comfortable using what they already know, and that's fiat. Those who know about other means would not use the e-naira. They would rather use crypto because they understand the importance of decentralization. So it became very difficult, because those who know about it want to use crypto. Those who don't know about it prefer to use the banks. So e-naira is just a very sad attempt by the government, because it does what traditional banking does for many Nigerians, for the majority of Nigerians, and that's to settle bills, to make payments, and people would rather use their banking apps for that. So I think their attempt might have gone better if the e-naira was an alternative that was solving a real need, like many people are looking for that traditional banking can't solve. And then you see people using the banking apps that, oh, there's this limitation on banking. Take, for example, PayPal. PayPal is not accepted in Nigeria. eBay is not accepted in Nigeria because they don't trust the Nigerian banks because of all the scammers and the Nigerian princes. So if the in-era was solving those problems, and because it's open ledger technology on the blockchain, and PayPal can verify that, oh, this wallet owner has this amount, then people will find a need for using the in-era. But they didn't go that route. They instead restricted ATM withdrawals. People were literally buying Naira notes for double the price. Imagine buying $100 for $200. $100 with $200. That was ridiculous. So it's didn't turn out well despite all of their efforts, and now it's just kind of like an embarrassing attempt for the government. Nobody uses in-era here right now. It's just sad.
Yeah. Well, that kind of raises, the big question, which is, do you think that Western governments are looking at what's gone on in Nigeria, which has actually, to my knowledge, had the highest adoption rates outside of China? Do you think that these Western governments are looking at the case study of Nigeria and saying, yeah, let's go ahead and roll out our CBDCs? Or do you think they're thinking that it needs a lot more development?
Well, for sure. I mean, if I want to do something, I'll definitely look at how others have tried, especially if they failed, so that I would avoid the mistakes that they made. So, take for example, Americans like to use Cash App a lot, right? So why not just make an alternative that is as easy as that? So I think Western governments, they're still going to try the CBDCs. They're like Nigeria. They are already trying to restrict the or reduce the competition. So that's why they're being harsh with cryptocurrencies. That's what I'm seeing with them. So definitely they will try, and they're going to try to make it much more attractive. I don't think they would limit people's freedom, because that's something that is extremely important to a lot of people over there. They wouldn't say, oh, you must use it. They'll just make it much more attractive. I think their approach should be much more better than, or if they're smart enough, it should be much more better than the Nigerian government. So yeah, they are definitely watching, and they're definitely learning. I'm sure of that.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, you have to assume that, the EU, the UK, and the United States do have much more sophisticated, although not, sometimes it doesn't seem as sophisticated, very sophisticated, but you'd have to assume they have much more sophisticated infrastructure and intel on kind of how people would react to a CBDC. But certainly what we saw in Nigeria is kind of a case study showing that there's a lot more work to be done in the world of CBDCs before a population is going to just adopt it, at least a population outside of China or a communist regime or a regime that has totally kind of diluted their people. So
Absolutely.
thank you so much, SSM, for coming on. Tim, I'll throw it back over to you to kind of close us out. But
Tim,
thanks for having me.
Go ahead and check out SSM's YouTube channel. It's the first link in our description just below. So definitely go give his channel a subscription, like some videos, watch them, and maybe even leave some comments for him.
Thanks for having me. I really appreciate you.
Yeah, it was great having you, man. Tim had to bounce. He asked me to close out T-Shroom because he had some work to do. But before I go, I do want to make a big announcement. SSM here, Crypto Seth, Crypto Archie that's in here, even T-Shroom, Tim himself, and myself. We are all part of another show called the Crypto Gem Hunters. So let me go ahead and jump over here, show you this, guys. Right here, June 1st, big announcement here. Crypto Gem Hunters. Currently, I have 2.3 thousand subscribers, and here's all the people that are in this group. It's Archie, Seth, Grinds, SSM Crypto, and then, of course, TA Partners, Crypto with Brian, Hazik, and Chart Prime. I think we're going to have to update this to actually being to actually be an investing bros, because that's what seems to be happening. Is it looks like a lot of us are going to be rolling over there. But watch for this, guys. Go subscribe. Crypto Gem Hunters, June 1st, big launch. A lot of changes, and it is going to be coming at you hot, bringing you all of the hottest low cap gems out there, so that you guys can get in before they blow up. So that's what I wanted to give there on that one. So guys, go get on that. You'll see SSM there, yeah, and T-Shroom and me, TA Tim, and all the people you guys love, Archie and Seth and them. So you guys need to get over there. SSM, thanks for being here today. T-Shroom, if you don't have anything, I'm going to go ahead and wrap us out, bro. All right, guys, thanks for joining us. We will see you guys tomorrow morning. Don't forget, for the Patreon members and the premium members, TA Talks today over on the Discord for Chart Prime, and we will catch you all tomorrow.
Trying to make paper, turn that better to cake. Money like Lego, connect the dots, stack bank. We are investing bros. We are investing bros. Army pipe, lethal on trade. Entries and exits, worthy of praise. Tim, the professor, the TA. Shout it out loud on the PA. T-Shroom's news, got the word. Doing better than what he deserves. Beamer, leave no evidence. Soon fly coop with his dividend. Trying to make paper, turn that better to cake. Money like Lego, connect the dots, stack bank. We are investing bros. We are investing bros.